Something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Well, here we go. Toe is in the footballs. We kick off another brand new day here live from the shadow of Detroit. The Steve Gruber Show, ready to roll from the foxhole of freedom. Always makes me ask, who do you want in your foxhole? Lots of great people out there. Pick one. And lots of work to do here on a Friday. Number one, in a major victory for safety on U.S. highways and roads, the state of California revoking, listen to this, 17,000 driver's licenses given to unqualified immigrants. Seems Newsom was not honest about the whole mess after all. Number two, also in California, a lawsuit has been filed by the DOJ for violating the new Constitution and drawing congressional districts using race as a metric. This will be solved soon by the U.S. Supreme Court. Sorry, California, you could lose this deal badly. And number three, it's the word of the week, affordability. It's what's driving voters now and will also drive voters in 2026. What is your biggest concern when it comes to paying the bills? Which one has you most concerned, or is there more than one? I'm telling you again, if Republicans cannot find an answer to this question, you're going to see a lot more Mem Donnies elected as young people are feeling the pinch and feeling left out of the economy. So what do you say about that? Welcome to Free Speech Friday. I'm glad you're here. Powered by Patriot Mobile's Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. It is your chance to be heard. I want to know where you live and what is your most worrisome monthly bill. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. On the topic of affordability, I want to start with the Vice President, J.D. Vance. Here he is.
A lot of young people are saying housing is way too expensive. Why is that? Because we flooded the country with 30 million illegal immigrants who were taking houses that ought by right go to American citizens. And at the same time, we weren't building enough new houses to begin with, even for the population that we had. So what we're doing is trying to make it easier to build houses, trying to make it easier to build factories and things like that so that people have good jobs. We're also getting all of those illegal aliens out of our country, and you're already seeing it start to pay some dividends.
Start to pay some dividends. Is that true? Do you believe that? Again, the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. Let's get into it. Tom is on the line from Waterford, Michigan, not too far from me, actually. Tom, how are you?
Great. I love your show, Steve. I was listening to NPR yesterday, and they keep saying, interviewing people from the government, all we're trying to do is fight Trump's policies in every which way we can. They're not Americans. They don't work for us. I think we got to get civil with these people.
What do you mean?
Well, civil kind of says it all.
Yeah.
They're out there calling him a pedophile and a traitor on Mondays, every Monday out here on M59 and Water.
Oh, I'm sure they are, and look at these big emails. Virginia Guffrey, who already said Donald Trump did nothing wrong. That's their big star witness now. She's dead, of course, unfortunately. But, Tom,
right.
It's the left is fracturing, as you can see with socialism. But right now, the right has got a lot of infighting, too. The uniparty is going to melt down here, and I don't know what's going to happen. There's problems on both sides. I really appreciate the phone call. Thank you.
Prices are coming down. They just can't wait a little bit.
Well, I know. And,
Trump hasn't been there that long.
Well, look, we live in a society where everything is instant. Instant gratification on every corner.
What the damage the Democrats did.
Yeah, I agree, Tom. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Donald Trump didn't push inflation to 9%. That was Joe Biden who did that. Also from Michigan, Sam is in the great city of Traverse City today. Sam, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. How about you there, Steve?
Good. What's on your mind?
Three things, and I'll just try and touch upon them real quick so we can move on here. First thing is I'm still concerned with voter tabulation integrity. I don't know where we're at in terms of the dominions. I know that I did come across something, I think it was on RAV, where it was there was an expose on that, and it was directing me to stolen elections facts. So that would be the first thing that I have concern for.
What else?
Secondly, as we enter election for governorship, it would seem to me that as one of the states in the United States have implemented some strict laws towards home title theft, and they've made it so you have to have you have to have photo identification in order to make some sort of transfer.
All
and,
true.
Anyone who's running for governor, that should be their platform, because how many homeowners do we have here in the state of Michigan that would like their primary resource protected? And
Sam,
third is the whole shutdown. With everything that we can gamble against, I wonder if there was some sort of wagering going on.
I'm sure there was. No, actually there was. Sam, thank you for the call. Places like Calshi had, over under. Will the government open in a week? Over under. They gamble. People will gamble on anything. Unfortunately, a lot of these people in Washington will gamble with your livelihood and your future. That's the problem we face. These people will gamble with you and your future. That's a dangerous place to be. As far as voter tabulation, let me weigh in on that. The Dominion Voting Machine Company was sold to a conservative Republican and renamed Liberty Voting or something like that. So Dominion is pretty well off the table. So that's good news, I believe. We'll see where that leads us. But I think that's right. Tabulation is something people don't talk about. They talk about how the votes are cast, but how are they counted? How are they considered? That's a good question. Let's go out west to Steve. He's in Idaho. Steve, how are you?
Hey, good morning. Steve, thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Something that's been bothering me, this clown from California goes down to Brazil. Where was our ambassador? Was he involved in that?
You mean in this climate, hold on.
Up
You're talking about this climate policy conference deal going on in Brazil?
His fires were caused by climate change, when we already know what
That's
exactly
nonsense.
happened.
Yeah, we know that.
Can you shed some light on that? And secondly, when it comes to energy, I think that I know that it costs a lot to heat a little teeny apartment because of the cost and the power and the way the place was built. Maybe we need to build it a little better. What do you
maybe.
think?
I think you're onto something there. Look, first of all, the fires in California were not about climate change. In fact, arsonists have been arrested. We know that. There were no hurricanes that made landfall in America again this year. None. Remarkable, right? They keep telling us the storms are getting worse and climate change. I just had somebody pitch me on having people on the program to tell us how climate change is destroying small business. No, government policy destroys small business when it comes to climate change and everything else. It is ridiculous, to be honest with you. This part of the program powered by Patriot Mobile. Look, you can get a month of free service right now. Partner with the people that partner with us. It is my phone company, folks. They're based in America. They've been around for a dozen years. Your service is terrific. PatriotMobile.com. Use the promo code Gruber. You're going to get a free month of service, all right? And it's important that you support this company. And the Common Sense Hotline from Patriot Mobile is 877-310-9966. I'll be right back. All right, back at it here on a Free Speech Free for All Friday. What are your affordability concerns? I really want to know that from some of you folks. What is the bill that concerns you most? Energy. Across the whole northeastern portion of the United States, electric bills have gone through the roof, remarkably high in some places. And I'm going to tell you, if we can't make life more affordable for young people in America, you won't have a country, because they're going to vote for Mamdani-type candidates in 26 and 28 and for the rest of your life, and it'll be over. Let's go to Bruce in Florida. Bruce, how are you today?
Morning, Steve. Yeah, the economy. You remember Trump loved the story of the turtle and the snake. We need to stop foreigners from buying our cropland. Who is Zelensky? Just bought 941,000 acres out there. That's what's causing inflation, is the Ponzi scheme of the government just printing money to do these social services. We need gold-backed currencies in the states. Look up the 13 colonies. They all had different script. What do you think?
I think that when Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard, it was a huge mistake. That's what I think. And it's something that we have not recovered from. I don't know about Zelensky buying property. That sounds like an exorbitant amount of property to buy. That would be more than some of the largest landowners in America. So I'm going to look that up and fact check you on that, Bruce. But I'm going to find out if it's true. All right. And I don't believe that foreigners should buy cropland next to Air Force bases or military bases of any sort. You know, we just saw a trailer park that is backed up to a U.S. military base that is through several different corporations to hide the fact that it's owned by the Chinese. That was just busted. And why any trailer park be right next to a military base sharing a fence didn't seem very secure to me. Ken is in Michigan. Ken, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I just wanted to share with you two major problems that I see, and we need to deal with them. One, of course, is a continued increase of food costs, food items that we're needing to buy. I mean, come on, we got to eat. But, Steve, the other thing we got to quickly deal with is the ignorance of economics. Example, you'll love this. Imagine the country as an automobile. Now, we have the economic system, socialism, Marxism, communism. It's the same as soda pop. Now, we have the free market system, capitalism, gasoline. What happens when you put soda pop in your car's engine? Engine dies. The car dies. And that's what we have to educate the young and the others about.
I think we can find better examples. Ken, I appreciate the phone call. Let me tell you about this. This country is economically ignorant, but it's worse than that. It's worse than that. And let me explain to you, if I might. I was talking to a producer, one of my producers for my afternoon television program, America's Voice Live, which I host daily Monday through Friday on Real America's Voice at 3 o'clock. The producer for the program, nice young man, he's 30 years old. I said, who is the biggest mass murderer of the 20th century? He said, Osama bin Laden. And I was stunned by his answer because he was sincere and thought he was right. I said, no. I said, have you ever heard of Chairman Mao? He said, no. Who's that? We're not just ignorant economically. We're ignorant across the board. Because we waste people's time talking about pronouns and other garbage that is meaningless. Meaningless. And the Chinese Communist Party and Russia and others, Qatar, they all pump money into our country to push narratives. Narratives that are not in the best interest of this country or the future of America. America's going to die unless we get our act together. Because you have a left that has gone far radical left, and it's splintering. Moderate Democrats are being chewed up. On the right, you have more splintering. And you've got all these people that are cashing in from the insurance companies to big pharma across the board. I mean, how is Nancy Pelosi worth $135 million? Because she just happens to be that good at trading stocks? Come on. And it's true for Republicans, too. We've got real problems out there. Real problems out there, and they don't know who Chairman Mao is. They don't know what the Great Leap Forward is. It's not just economic ignorance, it's prolific ignorance across the board, and it's a concern to me, and it should be a concern to you as well, because as Thomas Jefferson explained, we need a well-educated electorate. for this country. We don't have it. We've got vapid vessels out there that are pulling voting levers for whoever's popular on TikTok. It ought to scare the hell out of you. Let's go to Ohio. Cleo, good morning.
Good morning, Don.
Cleo, are you there?
Steve. So, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, not very well. You got your hand on the phone funny. Let's go.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, the Republican Party is going to end up losing like 52 million voters because they're attacking people that's on SNAP program per se. So basically, if you want to lose voters...
Okay, I can't understand him. Put him back on hold. I'm sorry, Brock. I can't understand what he's saying. Sounds like he's talking underwater to me. Let's go to Krista. She's also in Ohio. She can represent that state well. Krista, how are you today?
Well, hi, good morning. Good morning, Steve. I'm fine, thank you.
Good. What's on your mind?
My concern is the financial hardship that families, particularly I know in Ohio, are property taxes. They've become out of sight. You get your home paid for, you're retired, you're in your 70s, and you can't afford to live in your home anymore because the taxes continue to rise. It's a huge concern for many of friends of ours, and I know, like I said, my husband and I are seeing it continue to rise and rise, and we have to make choices.
Yeah, I could not possibly agree with you more, Krista. That's a great problem you brought to the attention of the folks today. Here in Michigan, AXMI Tax, it's AXMITAX.org. The folks are really close to getting enough signatures to get it on the ballot so that there is no property tax in Michigan because people they pay their mortgage off. And then they retire, and then they're on a fixed income. And if they don't pay their property tax, the government takes their house. That's wrong. AXMITAX. So in Michigan here, we're fighting it. I suggest you do it in Ohio. Do it all the way across the country. AXMI Tax. They need your signatures here in this state to get it on the ballot to get rid of property tax. Don't sit on your hands. Go there today. I'll be right back. All right, back to it. We're going to try Cleo one more time. We'll give him a second chance. America believes in second chances. Cleo is in Ohio. Cleo, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Steve. Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, the Republican Party is going to end up losing like 52 million voters because they're attacking people that's on the SNAP program.
Yep.
Those are voters, basically. If you're telling a person that if they are on a certain program that what they can buy, what they can eat because they don't have the financial means, it's like a class warfare. You say, well, I can't buy a soda, I can't buy some candy per se. And that's like a class warfare that you put on people who have a lower income. Those are voters still. So basically, if you want to lose voters in the voting sector, which is like 15 to 2 million people, that's the best way to do it, by attacking the way you feed your family, feed your kids. So the Republican Party need to quit with the social, what they call economic war on society, because when they do that, they lose voters.
Cleo, it's a valid point you make. I'll give you that. It's a valid point you make. And it's 42 million people. He's right. 42 million people are on SNAP benefits, food stamps, if you will. And if you tell them what they're allowed to eat, not allowed to eat, that might irritate them and make them vote another way. That's for sure. Valid point. I still think they should eat healthy, but maybe that's not up to me. Something to consider. We're excited. I need to update this for you, folks, so pay attention. We're excited to share Patriot Mobile's Holiday 25 promotion now through December 31st. I gave you the wrong promotion. When you use promo code HOLIDAY25, you'll get 2 free months of service with Patriot Mobile. I just doubled the offer. It's America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. It's like magic around here. We use Patriot Mobile ourselves. The terrific service is wonderful, great coverage. Customer care is perfect. Join us. Finish the year strong. Visit patriotmobile.com. Holiday 25. Holiday 25. And sign up today. Remember, when you sign up, make sure to mention Gruber. Where did you hear about us section? Gruber. Make sure you tell them. Get 2 months of free service from Patriot Mobile. Holiday 25. Mention me. You're going to get 2 free months. I just doubled the offer. I don't know how I do it. You know, rainbows, unicorns, and little elves. Yeah. PatriotMobile.com. Holiday 25 is your promo. Make sure you mention Gruber. You get 2 free months. Join us, would you? It's a great service. It's an American company. I'll be right back. All right, with the end of the government shutdown, things should start to be getting back to normal. My understanding is that a lot of those government paychecks that have not been available for, 6 weeks will start going out tomorrow. So that's good news for the folks that have worked hard, the TSA, the air traffic controllers, the military, all going to get paid now after the Democrats accepted a deal that was exactly the same as what had been offered 6 weeks previously. In Tennessee, I find Pete this morning. Pete, how are you?
Hello?
Yeah, Pete, how are you? What's on your mind?
Okay, my thing is AI and GI, right?
Uh-huh.
We got them out there already where they're using for doctors and lawyers and stuff like that, or medical purposes. And they say the day's coming where we will have your own personal companion. We got people wanting to marry AI, right?
Yeah, kind of weird.
Well, GI ain't out there yet, but AI's.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to the tech bros when these people get up here and decide that AI and GI have rights?
Yeah, it's only a matter of time, Pete. Thanks for the call. I think you're right. Look, these people believe that your dog has rights in court. Why wouldn't your AI robot companion have rights? I had never considered that, but the insanity of some people has no limits. And I do want a robot, I do. Clean the house, let the chickens out, mop the floor, whatever. Clean the toilet. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, Anthony? Hey, robot, get in there. Anyhow. Let's stay in Tennessee with Dan. Dan, I speak Southern. I studied it in college, so I'm ready to go. What's on your mind?
Yeah, the only question we need to ask ourselves every day, Steve, is if the 2026 election was held today, would we win or lose?
We'd lose.
Every day we need to ask ourselves that, because ultimately that's what's going to make the difference.
Yeah, we would lose today. We would lose, and here's why we would lose. Gen Z came in big numbers for Donald Trump, supported him. They're not impressed so far, not necessarily with Trump, but with the Republicans' failure to lead and to govern. Look, things are better, and it does take time. I understand that. But when you make big promises, you have to have big returns. And so far, Gen Z not impressed, especially young women who are fleeing to the far left, to communist ideals that would be destructive to them and their lives. They have no idea. They don't know who Chairman Mao is, or Stalin, or Pol Pot. They probably don't even know who Castro is anymore. It's a frightening day and age that we live in, but you're right. Exactly right. Let's talk to a woman about it. Michelle is in Florida. Michelle, how are you?
Okay. Hey, Steve. This is obviously Michelle from Florida.
Yep.
I have a couple of things. Okay. First of all, I do price changes at a grocery store. I can 100% tell you that the prices are not going to go down once they went up.
Exactly.
They're not going to level that out. Once they're getting their money, that's not changing. Now, it might not go up much anymore, but they're not going to go down like they once were.
That's exactly what I think.
And then, yeah, and I believe that it was mentioned, I think President Trump mentioned it about, we're getting the prices down, but the corporations that are selling it to the grocery stores are still charging outrageous prices. So until something happens there, like I said, the prices aren't going to come back down.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and the whole thing on gold, I'm down on gold, but I want physical gold. I pay my 401k, I pay into 401k. I have stock, but I don't have $4,000 to buy a coin. So
well, good news. You don't have to buy $1,000 or $4,000 worth. You can buy $100 worth. You can buy little bits of gold if you want, but if you don't, I understand. I appreciate that. I have a little tiny bit. I wish I could go back in time. I'd have bought more, or tried to figure out how to buy more. I'm not, independently wealthy over here either. I'm just working hard to make sure you guys are informed every day. I appreciate the phone call. By the way, speaking of groceries, and she's right. Michelle's exactly right. Grocery prices aren't going to come down. They established a new high, and they're going to keep them there for the most part. Now, eggs came down because they were, obscene. But beef, for example, it's not going to come down. We have less cows than at any time since 1951. Now, the cows are bigger, and they produce more beef, but we have twice as many people or more than we did in 1951. And now the Trump administration, I was going to talk about this in the next hour, but this seems the right time to throw this in. The Trump administration calling for a Department of Justice probe on foreign meat packers because our meat packing companies like Smithfield is owned by the CCP. They're jacking up the prices and lining their pockets at your expense. Another reason our food systems should not be controlled by foreign countries and foreign actors. Not our farmland, not our meat packers, not our produce. No. America has the greatest farmland and the greatest agricultural system in the world. We ought to protect it vigorously. Michelle's right. The prices aren't coming down. Let's go to Steve. He's in West Virginia. Steve, how are you?
Good morning, Steve. I'm blessed. And yourself?
I am blessed as well. What's on your mind?
Housing. I left Indiana about 15 years ago, and I've seen how the immigrants are living probably throughout the country. They actually have one legal, buy a house, and there's 13 adults end up living in that house.
I've seen that
so
too.
They're gobbling up low paid jobs, and Gen Z, I mean, they should take a lesson in that. Not to say they want to live like that, but that's what's been going on for years.
Well, Steve, you man, great call. You nailed it. Here's part of the problem. When you let 20 million people into your country illegally, they go find a place to live. If you got 20 million extra, we had a housing pinch before, now we have a crunch. Too many people, not enough houses. When you let 20 million people in, they need a place to live, don't they? And guess what? What he is describing, I have seen, not far from where I am. Whole bunch of people, none of them spoke English, all crammed into one house. Less than a mile from where I live right now. They've since moved on, but they were there for a couple of years before that house was moved on to the market. Let's go to Roger in Vermont. We don't hear from Vermont very often. Roger, how are you?
Hey, Steve. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the media. I think once they clean up our media and put some level-headed people there that are going to report the truth, but unless they do that, they're going to keep dividing this country.
Well, there's truth to that, Roger. The problem is that people get their media from social media. And for some reason, you know, people believe anything they see. I just saw one here. Well, Donald Trump did this and that, and the Epstein files were sealed during the entire Biden years because of the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. That's completely false. It's all false. Democrats had access to all the Epstein files for all the years Joe Biden was in office. They didn't care. They didn't release them. All of a sudden, it's a big priority now because they think they might have. It's nonsense. We get lied to all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Thank you, Roger. Greatly appreciate it. Sorry, but I'm up against a break and I have to run. Gary, Mike, Mona, Kathy, we'll get to all of you. Do have an important topic to cover after the break, but I'll get to all of you. And look, this goes on for the next 2.5 hours. 877-310-9966. That's a Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Remember, PatriotMobile.com, Holiday 25, 2 free months of service right now. 2. I mean, I'm like Santa Claus over here, not quite as big. PatriotMobile.com, Holiday 25. Tell them Gruber sent you. Don't forget to do that. Tell them Gruber sent you. That's this guy. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you here as we continue the conversation. I want you to hear something right now because we talk about this, and I have skeptics, I guess, say that doesn't really happen. People can't really lose their home because somebody signs a few pieces of paper. Well, it can happen. Here's another news story, this one out of Texas. The horror story of a homeowner being robbed of his entire life savings, really. Listen to this.
We start with a warning tonight. A San Antonio man says he is in danger of being evicted from his home.
He says he was tricked into signing over his home to someone who came to his house promising to help resolve his financial issues. News 4 San Antonio's Ethan Trejo joins us after he looked into the case.
Harry Stephen Aderholt lives a quiet life here in Leon Valley, just him and his pet parrot, Pepper. That quiet life ended when some tough breaks led a bank to foreclose on his home. Then what he thought was his saving grace ended up being his worst nightmare.
Thought I was going to get a new loan, and next thing I know, I get an eviction notice that my house was sold in February.
Can you imagine? There you are, all of a sudden you get an eviction notice from your own home. People say it doesn't happen. It does happen. Joining me now, Natalie Dominguez, Title Theft Education Specialist for Home Title Lock. Natalie, thank you for being here.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me with you guys. This is an unfortunate story in this kind of string of new, we've dealt with a lot of vacant property fraud over the last 4 years post-COVID, but we're kind of seeing this new influx of people approaching a lot of the elderly very directly for, this form of title fraud where they're actually going through and getting signatures for these documents versus forging them at home. It's very, very scary.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I hear that news report from San Antonio. I see the victim. I hear the victim. Elderly guy. Here's a guy who's panicked because his finances are in whatever disarray. He thinks, okay, let me get this straightened out. Let me do the right thing. Let me get it all structured with a new loan. And he gets robbed. So they're preying on those that can least defend themselves, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. I believe we discussed with you guys before there was another story where this happened in Arizona and the couple had taken advantage of 50 plus known victims and now we're seeing it's about 100 plus. There was another story that came out last week of something similar. It's very unfortunate that the elderly are so susceptible to these kinds of frauds because most of the time they're very trustworthy. They trust that someone's coming in and wants to help them because they want the help. And it's so easy. It's just a signature. That's all they did was they thought they were signing a new loan and they were signing documents that these criminals and these scammers are going and filing at the county, and then suddenly their ownership on paper is no longer in their name. So what happened in this case is this man was approached one day and kicked out of his house. He came home to his stuff on the front lawn being evicted because his house was sold behind his back.
70-year-old guy, Harry Aderholt, 70 years old, comes home and there's all this stuff on the front lawn. He's like, well, what's going on? I got a new loan. No, you signed this. And so, I want to go to court. But you signed this. You signed the document. So it becomes almost impossible to get your home back. I mean, if you get yourself in that situation, you can't back up. That's the problem, right?
Yeah. And this is an even harder fraud to prove, right? Because it's not, hey, I didn't sign this. Hey, I didn't do this. Get a handwriting expert. You start going through court proceedings are already going to be months to a year, maybe more. But in this case, the homeowner actually did sign the document. So you're under even more pressure to prove that it was under coercion, right?
Yeah.
It's a very hard thing to go through, especially most elderly. Your financial future is in your home. And if you no longer have that as collateral, a lot of, elderly people, they don't have just money lying around for lawyers and people helping them.
Well, that's what I was going to say. He was already upside down in his finances. That's why he was looking to refinance his home in the first place. Oh, we can fix it. I need a retainer of this much money and legal work for the. He couldn't afford the legal work because he was already upside down. And then he has no access to the money in his home that maybe could have paid for the lawyer. I mean, lose, right?
Yep. And actually, one of the newer reports is showing that he and his pet parrot, which makes me want to cry, are currently living out of their vehicle.
Yeah, they've got nothing left. So I hope the neighborhood, when people see these stories, they'll step up and say, you know what, let's help you out. But before you ever get to that place, before you ever get yourself in a situation like that, Home Title Lock can prevent that from happening because they'll alert you if something happens. And if in the worst case, if this was a guy who had Home Title Lock, you guys put up $1 million to turn it around, wouldn't you?
Yep. So that's the biggest thing that we do. A lot of people focus on the monitoring and the alerts, which are fantastic. Time is of the essence, right? But
Sure.
the biggest thing is we jump in and we take care of all the legal stuff. We take off your plate. So the most the homeowner really has to do is file a police report offhand because we unfortunately can't do that. But we jump in and do everything else. So with this homeowner, he wouldn't have to be putting up legal fees. We would take care of all of the legal. We have a really wonderful network of legal experts around the U.S. To make sure that whatever city, country, or county, excuse me, county, state that we're in, we are able
Sure.
to jump in and kind of do it immediately.
The sad fact of
So
the matter is Harry's never getting his house back. That's the bottom line. He's probably never getting it back. He's living in his car with a parrot. That's got to be interesting and rather unpleasant at the same time. How often does this happen? I mean, we see these reports far too often. I see people that are victimized, often the elderly. This guy's 70, like I said. What is the protection that prevents that from happening on your end?
yeah, so we're going to be real here. This isn't happening like it's every single person down your neighborhood street,
No.
right? But when it does happen to you, it's devastating. Like you said, it's very possible this man never gets his house back. The biggest thing that you can do to prevent is to have that safety net, to have that there. Not everyone thinks that this is a requirement, but especially let's say that you're a younger homeowner and you're like, you know what, this won't happen to me, but you have a parent that is in their home. My grandparents are 90 years
Sure.
old. They've been in their house for 65 plus years, and it's they're the prime targets. It's
Yeah.
very sad. So even if you don't feel like protecting yourself, it's always a good thing to have for your family members. Not
Yeah.
just that, but in cases like this where it's you're under more of a burden to prove it's fraud because it's your actual signature,
Yeah.
even having, and we've gone through this, right? Even having home title lock on your property is showing that it's a first step in court of like,
And saying, I
hey,
did not
we're
do
protecting
this.
against
Right.
fraud.
I signed this with Home Title Lock. You can check on your home's title today. Make sure you're not a victim already. Just go to HometitleLock.com, use the promo code Gruber, and you're on your way to protecting yourself so you never become like Harry Adderholt, right? That's what we want. Natalie, thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks so much for having me with you guys.
Greatly appreciate it. HometitleLock.com. Make sure your home is protected. Promo code is Gruber. You can start right now. HometitleLock.com, promo code Gruber. Don't be a victim. I'll be right back. All right, let's just dive right back into it. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. We do it for the next 2.5 hours, too, so don't be afraid to call in. Gary is in Florida. He's been patient. Gary, how are you?
Doing great, Steve. How are you doing? God bless you for what you do, and thank you for taking my call this morning.
What's on your mind?
The HB1 visa program. I don't know why we still have this going on with the problems that we're having in America. These are not intelligent, high-end workers. You know, these are lawn maintenance, house cleaning, and stuff like that, and also strongly worded letters. What's up with this? That's why we're losing boats right now. There's no accountability.
Yeah, there is no accountability. Donald Trump came out in favor of more H-1B visas, though. What do you think of that? Real quick.
I cut him. He's gone.
All right, well, Gary, I'll get that question next time. Mike in Michigan, how are you today?
Good morning, Steve.
What's on your mind?
Hello?
Yep, go.
Just two things, Steve. The other day I heard you talking about insurance companies. According to an insurance company, it costs $12,000 for a 4-hour stay in a hospital room.
Yeah, I know. Crazy,
That's all
right?
I'm going to say about that.
Well,
The second thing is, on the November 11th, Michigan had a court case with the DOJ to turn over the voter rolls, and they haven't turned them over yet. I know for a fact that they're cheating them in Michigan. When you move, you register to vote at a new address, and you're still registered to vote at your old address.
That's a problem.
Even after someone else moved in there and registered to vote at that address.
And they're getting your letters, Mike. You got that
yeah,
right. Thank you for the
Michigan
call.
needs to turn
Greatly
over them
appreciate it.
voter rolls.
I got to move on because we're about to hit the top of the hour now. Mona, Kathy, and all the rest, sit tight. We'll get to all of you. We're going to do this for the next hour or more. Why wouldn't we? I still want to know about affordability. If you don't want to call me, go to stevegruber.com. Send me an email, stevegruber.com. Send me an email, all right? I'll be right back. It is the Steve Gruber Show.
Today. Be right
There's always something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
All right, towing the football. Here we go again. Another big hour right here in the shadow of Detroit. It's a great place to be on a Friday. Glad you're here for the conversation, all right? It's the next big hour here in the program. Fighting for you from the Foxhole Freedom like we do every single day here. Three big things for this next hour. Number one, Congressman Eric Swalwell, the outspoken but undereducated lawmaker from California, has been referred to the DOJ for, again, mortgage fraud, raising the question, how many of these people cheat on everything? Number two, President Trump calling for an investigation into foreign meat packers. We talked about that. We'll have more. And number three, affordability. It is what is driving voters down, will also drive voters in 2026. What is your biggest concern when it comes to paying the bills? Which one has you most concerned? I'm reading some emails here. Property taxes. Property taxes. I'm going to tell you that's for the seniors. For young people, it's buying a property at all. I'm telling you again, if Republicans cannot find an answer to this question, you're going to see a lot more of these Mamdanis elected. I can guarantee you that. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966 on this Common Sense Friday. Let's go to Mona. She's in West Virginia. Mona, how are you today?
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Go ahead.
I'm well, thank you. How are you? I'm
well, so much.
I got two things, if I may. Like on the SNAP benefits. You know, I heard a man a while ago speaking of this. Put a cap on how much, you know, the recipients are allowed to spend, you know, on, you know, sweets and stuff. That way they could still buy the food that they need to really need, you know, the healthy food to make it.
Yeah. You know, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I heard RFK Jr. say that they're going to change the food pyramid. Thank God. It's been wrong forever. It's been upside down, all this grain and all this nonsense. And they're also going to point out that these highly processed box foods really aren't food. I think that's a step forward. I don't know if I don't disagree with the caller from Ohio who said, I think that was Cleo. He said, you know, look, you can't tell people what to eat. You'll make them angry and they'll vote for somebody else. That could be true, Mona. I mean, I get it. Sugars and sweets and Mountain Dew and garbage, I get it. But you can't tell people what they can eat, right?
Yeah, I do too. But, you know, like little kids in a birthday party or something like that, and a mother that's by herself that, you know what I mean? You know,
I do.
Scenarios.
I do, Mona. Thank you for the call. Greatly appreciate it. I do. We need to be healthier as a nation. We are the sickest, fattest, most unhealthy group of people on the planet. How did that happen, America? Go back and look at a high school graduation picture from 1970, 75, 80. We look like a different species today. Look at a high school graduation picture today. Good Lord. Let's go to Kathy in Virginia. Kathy, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Steve, for taking my call.
Of course.
My question is, years ago, when you went to vote it and you put your paper in the machine, it would come up and it would tell you who you voted for, and then you just push complete. It had the people on there that you voted. Now, when you put your paper in the machine, it just comes up saying you voted with the American flag. The American flag is fine, but don't tell you who you voted for.
You want confirmation?
Yes. Years ago, it used to be like that.
Yeah,
but then they done changed it.
Maybe it will be again. I like voter ID. I like citizenship requirements. I like the idea of having safe and secure elections. Everybody should. Anybody who doesn't support that really doesn't support free and fair elections. If you don't support ID, if you don't support the idea that only Americans can vote and claim that that's bigotry or some nonsense, you're wrong. You're just simply wrong. Kathy, great call. Thank you for waiting. I appreciate you. Out in one of my favorite states is Nate. He's in Iowa. Great place for pheasants and deer and a lot of good fun. Nate, how are you?
Oh, you know it is, Steve. And I am just burning daylight here, just like this administration is.
Yep. What's on your mind?
Here's what's on my mind, the four horsemen here. We got to start cleaning house, unfortunately. And I think hopefully a lot of people agree with it. But I think we need to start looking at Susie Wiles, Todd Blanche, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. Right now, they have... Messaging has been bad with Susie Wiles in the past, I'd say 2 months.
Yep.
Todd Blanche is blocking a lot of things that are needing to get done. Pam Bondi, she's not doing anything really. I mean, I'll be honest, I think she's lazy. Bless her, but you know what? Again, we need a dog in the fight here.
And Cash
Patel, same thing. I mean, I think he's compromised. I really do, and I'm not going to bring up Epstein, but there's other issues that we could talk about and people can look up. I know you've got other callers, but
well, do this for me, Nate.
Going on with that guy.
Do this for me. Send me an email. Go to stevegruber.com. Anybody can do this. You can do this. Send me an email. Outline some of these things because your list is a list I'm seeing more often being shared around by people that are like, look, we need to move past Susie, Todd, Pam, Cash, and a couple of others that are on the list as well. Send me an email. I appreciate the call, Nate. Thank you. Shoot straight, short blood trails, all that stuff. Mike is in upstate New York. Mike, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Steve. Greetings from the People's Republic of New York.
Well, yes. Let me ask you something before you get to your point. AOC is going to primary Chuck Schumer, 100%, guarantee, lock it. But can she win in upstate New York? She can win New York City, I got that. But can she win in the rest of the state? Can she win? Can she beat Schumer in a Democrat primary?
That's a good question. I would think that she might be able to, just because Schumer's getting less and less popular. The Democrats all over New York State are getting farther and farther away from reality, just like they are nationwide. I would think it may be possible, but we have to remember that we still are probably in a gubernatorial election up here. Upstate New York would probably go for at least Stefanik, not for AOC.
Fair
but
enough.
She might take the Democrat vote.
We'll see. All right, what'd you call for? What was on your mind? I asked my question. What's yours?
Hey, I'm just wondering. I'm getting very disappointed with the illegal aliens in the country here. It seems to me that I'm very happy with closing the border. I'm very happy with what Homan is doing. But I obviously, I'm a historian and a librarian, and I do a lot of research. And whatever they're doing is not enough to get rid of 40 million illegals and maybe another 40 million people who may be technically legal, but they shouldn't be here.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think it's 40 million. I think that's high, Mike. But I will tell you this: you're right. We're never getting rid of the. We're never getting rid of. I think it's 20 million, but we're not getting rid of 20 million people. It's not going to happen. They knew that when they pulled this deal.
It's not happening with what they're doing.
It's not going to. It's not ever going to happen.
But there are ways to get this done. What I would suggest here is that I don't see anybody going after the money trail here.
Well, money's a big part of it.
We have
I got to leave it there, Mike. But I'm going to answer the question. I'm going to answer the question. We're never going to get rid of 20 million people. And I appreciate the research you do. I'd like an email from you, too, at stevegruber.com. Salazar, the congresswoman from Florida, says, look, the people that have been here for 5, 10, 15 years that haven't committed a crime should not be citizens, but should have a path to legally staying here. Is that true or not? Do you agree or disagree? We're not going to root out 20 million people, not in 3 years. It's a challenge, and we need to figure this out. We really do. Criminals have to go, no question. I'll take a break and be right back. It's the Steve Gruber Show. My next guest is running for the United States Senate seat that's being vacated in North Carolina. He's a Republican Senate candidate, former Navy JAG officer, former federal prosecutor as well. Don Brown, welcome back to the program.
Steve, thanks for having me. Happy Friday to you. Good to see
Happy
you.
Friday to you, my friend. All right, so North Carolina is doing its part. You're redistricting there. That could add an extra congressional seat, but that Senate seat, really important. New polling shows you in a pretty good race here. Michael Whatley is one of the folks in the race as well. Looks like you're running neck and neck with him. How's it looking for you?
Well, we've got the momentum. Whatley has outspent us about 100 to 1. He wasn't the White House first choice for the seat or for chief of staff or for the cabinet, and the Republican establishment is trying to ram Whatley down our throats. But the grassroots is on fire for us. We are in a statistical tie at the moment, despite having been outspent, despite having the elites of the Republican Party try to ram somebody down our throats. We, the people, are going to determine this race, and we're going to win it. We're going to take Whatley out and take Cooper out as well, and we're looking forward to it as our campaign catches more and more heat every day.
Well, all right. So the big topics, I'm going to get to your concern about Sharia law, which is a concern in many places in America. But let me start with what I think is the most critical thing to Americans. That's affordability. We just saw young women, Gen Z voters, turn out en masse for a communist in New York City. And if you think that can't spread across the country, Republicans need a wake-up call. Populism is going to win in 2026. And the real question is it going to be left-wing populism or right-wing populism? What can we do to give young people the idea that they can afford a house, that they can go to work, that they can pay their bills, that they can have something in this world? I mean, it's cornerstone politics, isn't it?
Right. Yes, and despite a lot of progress that's been made under the Trump administration, we're still dealing with incredibly stupid regulatory issues that are driving cost up. Take price supports for milk, for example. The federal government is paying big conglomerates to buy excessive dairy products off the shelves, which drives the price up. So we have to understand that a lot of this inflationary effect is still dealing with crazy regulatory schemes that have got to be gutted. And so we have to isolate those schemes and make the folks understand that the deep state is creating problems and go after all that type of excessive governmental regulation that's costing and driving the price of food up in the grocery store and everywhere else. So that's what I'm going to be working on. And we've got to do a better job of articulating the source of the problem, and we've got to get these regulations out of the way. If you look at meat, for example, I mean, the USDA has all type of regulations that drives up the cost of meat in the grocery store. They pay 2 times overtime for USDA inspectors. They limit the number of meats that can be processed. That's called the speed limit. We got to get rid of these regulations so that we can get food to our folks. The more food we can get, the more we can bring prices down. We're going to isolate these regulations. We're going to take them out. We're going to give young people hope that they can survive in this great nation, and certainly they can.
Does that have to happen before the election in November?
It will be helpful if it were to happen before the election in November. What has to happen for sure is we have to articulate the vision of what the problem is. The problem is the deep state and regulatory overreach. And of course, President Trump's done a good job in opening up pipelines and bringing the price of fuel down, which has helped some. But it would be helpful if it happens before November. We want to see prices come down. We believe that it will. But we certainly have to isolate the problem and attack it so that folks understand what is causing the logjam that we're having at grocery stores if prices not dropping like they need to.
Real quickly, let me ask you about health savings accounts, a plan put forward by the president, supported by people like Senator Dr. Roger Marshall of Kansas, saying, look, give the money to the people, not to the insurance industry that has made a fortune. Their profits have gone up 700% since the rollout of Obamacare. Let's give it to the American people. Let them decide how their health care works and make the insurance companies compete for their business. What do you think of that?
The concept is great. The Affordable Care Act turned out to be the Astronomical Cost Act. And I'm in favor of busting up Blue Shield. I'm in favor of using, antitrust if we have to. Here in North Carolina, we've got one option, Blue Cross. You should be able to shop your health insurance options just like you do with your auto insurance options. Big is bad. And so the president's concept of getting these mega insurers out of the way and giving people the power to determine our own insurance options is a good one. Whether the exact plans of the exact proposal that he's planned will actually get implemented or not, he's on the right mark. We've got to have competition in the American healthcare industry, and the cost of healthcare is one of the reasons that young folks, are so worried about being able to compete economically as we move. We've got to break this large health monopoly that's controlled by Blue Cross and just a few others and by Big Pharma. It's got to get busted up. We got to have more options.
Don, we got about a minute and a half left. I want to ask you about Sharia law in America. You're concerned about the spread of the push for Sharia law in pockets that you think could metastasize in this nation. Your thoughts?
Well, the election of this Mondami clown, a communist Muslim advocate, is an indictment, not just on, we talk about the illegal immigration. Democrats open the borders. We lost more people to fentanyl in 1 year than 10 years of Vietnam. But the legal immigration problem is an issue. And Sharia is a philosophy that is the law of Islam that is incompatible with the United States Constitution through its hudud, where they do public amputations, to apostasy laws, where they execute folks in these Muslim countries that don't convert, to treating women and children like dogs. We've got to adjust and change our legal immigration strategy also to be better protective of the United States Constitution. It's going to become a problem if we don't, and I'm going to push in the United States Senate to curb and maybe even eliminate, but certainly curb and use better scrutiny when it comes to immigration from Sharia-based countries. And so it's got to happen because the Constitution has got to be our polar star.
Don Brown, running for Senate, the state of North Carolina. Don, always appreciate talking to you. Congratulations on the state of the election thus far. When's the primary, real quick?
The election day for the primary is March 3rd. Early voting starts February 12th. We've got most of the momentum on the Republican side. We're going to win this thing, and when we do that, we're going to prosecute Roy Cooper all over the state. He's going to wish he'd never heard of me before this is over with.
Don Brown, former federal prosecutor, taking it to the streets. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. We'll take a break and be back on this Free Speech, Free for All Friday. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. You can also send me an email. I've been going through your emails. A lot of them came in today. Send more. SteveGruber.com. Send me an email. I might just read it here on the air. I'll be right back. All right, here's a one of those letters, all right, comes from Roger Schweikert. Roger Schweikert says, the only way we can fix the representation problem in America is to expand the House, because it used to be 50,000 people represented by a member of Congress. Now it's almost 800,000. We need a lot more members of the House. Maybe he is right about that. Brock, we still got folks there waiting?
Doug in Illinois.
Doug in Illinois. You are the next contestant here on the program. Doug, how are you?
Pretty good.
Good. What's on your mind?
Well, number one, we got to keep the farmland in the farmers' hands. We can't keep selling farmland to foreign investors. Number two, I'm handicapped and I can't afford health insurance. They want to charge me $1,000 a month for health insurance, and hell, we can't even afford to buy food.
Yeah, that's, pricing, I'm telling you, that's what's swinging the young votes as well. I greatly appreciate the call. Thank you, sir, from the great state of Illinois. Yeah. If you're feeling bloated after meals or low on energy, I've got something for you. Victory Nutrition International has you covered with a gut health bundle featuring Enzorb and Trim Rocks. Enzorb adds digestive enzymes to help you break down the food so you can enjoy less bloat, more of your day, and then boost your metabolism and energy a fun way. Trim Rocks is like Pop Rocks from the days of old. It's kind of cool. I like doing it. A fizzy plant-powered tablet that supports fat-burning, balanced blood sugar, and steady energy. Right now, get special bundle pricing as well as a buy one, get one free deal. You can see them there for those of you streaming today. If you're not seeing it and you're just listening, go to vni.life/Gruber. It's through tomorrow. It's a special through tomorrow, November 15th. So get on it now, vni.life/Gruber. Buy one, get one, or get a bundle special right now. Special bundle pricing and a BOGO, all there for you. These are the best vitamins we've ever taken. I'm telling you right now, they are different. vni.life/Gruber. They only have 6 products, and they're right here, American made. vni.life/Gruber through tomorrow, November the 15th. Victory Nutrition International. Nutrition that gets in. I'll be right back. Well, the government shutdown is over. It's a process, though, to reopen the government. I mean, shutting it down was a process, reopening it another process. But fortunately, we've put that nonsense behind us. What's still strange to me is that the Democrats, when they finally broke ranks in the Senate and 6 more did so in the House, they voted for the exact same measure that was offered 6 weeks earlier. They got nothing out of it. They inflicted pain on America, tried to hold poor families hostage without food. Crazy to me. Congressman Tim Walberg represents Michigan 5. He's with me. Congressman, thank you for being here.
It's good to be with you. Yeah, and I was asked yesterday morning early on another interview if I was happy about it. And I said, yeah, I'm happy about it. But it's kind of a melancholy happiness because what a waste. And the pain that we put people through, the uncertainty that we put military families through, air traffic controllers, TSA agents not getting paid, all of that. And then people backed up in lines in the airport and having planes canceled. And why? And we end up with exactly the same offer that was offered to the Democrat senators 7 weeks ago, really. And then, Steve, I don't know if you noticed it. The Democrats, including our Michigan Democrats, were decrying the fact that Republicans had shut down government. All the while, they were trying to shut down government still on Wednesday night and voting to shut down government. I mean, it's insane what went on. And hopefully we get to January 30th and they don't do the same thing.
I would hope not. I hope they learned their lesson here because it was very unpopular and a lot of finger pointing. Doesn't matter. There are other concerns we have, though, and I want to ask you about this because affordability has come to the forefront in all of these discussions. The affordability of housing, of food, of utilities, whatever it may be. And we saw Mamdani get elected in New York City. And I think the Republicans would be remiss if they just dismissed that as some oddity. Young people, especially young women, are flocking to the Democrats, to the socialists. It's a big concern. If we don't find a way to tell them that capitalism is the path forward and that they can have a real shot in America, I think there's going to be a real upheaval in this country. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I agree with you. And yet you look at affordability of certain key things in the grocery store, of course, at the gas pump, far more affordable than under Biden. And it's going the right direction. And having passed the working families tax cut come January, and they realized they didn't get a 27% tax increase here in the 5th District of Michigan, and the similar approach all across the United States, I think things are going to change. So yeah, we talk about affordability. But let's talk about America. Let's talk about the greatness of capitalism. Let's talk about the compassion that America shows in its private sector, not by government coercion, but by heart itself, because we have the resources to do it. I think we can pull some of those people over. As chairman of the Education and Workforce Committee, that's our passion. And we're going to be continue to look at universities that are brainwashing young people against America and not telling them the truth about America and the greatness of what produces affordability and freedom and opportunity and accountability. All of that stuff is America. And yeah, I think we need to be more bold and firm in talking about that greatness in the content or the concepts of affordability as well.
Now, what can be done between now and the time that people start voting? Because that's the real question here. One of the things that was put forth that I think is a brilliant idea and a conversation to have is health savings accounts for insurance, so people can have medical coverage without just enriching the insurance companies. I saw here the head of Blue Cross Blue Shield last year took a pay cut. Don't be too upset. He only made $14.5 million. Insurance company profits are up 700% plus since Obamacare was rolled out. Wouldn't it be smarter to give the American people the money, put it in an HSA so you can't just spend the money willy-nilly, but it has to be on insurance premiums or doctor visits or prescription medications, and that way people can control their destiny, and the insurance companies would be forced to negotiate to give you a better deal, and the American people would get a better deal. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. From your lips to our constituents' ears. I mean, that's exactly what we need. I mean, the concept that President Trump put about giving a $2,000 check directly to the citizens to use for health care is in that range. If you would take that $2,000 and more and actually put in a health savings account, let people use it when they needed it and not use competition. And what the Democrats want to talk about in their continued supplement to the insurance companies to prop up a program that never would work and never will work, Obamacare, is just wrong way to go. And it has ended up increasing healthcare costs.
Yeah, I wonder why the insurance industry put $20 million into Barack Obama's campaign coffers back in 2008. Seems Crazy, right? $20 million they put in. Kamala Harris, by far the biggest recipient of insurance industry money in the last presidential election. Almost $9 million from what I can figure out. $9 million just to her. $20 million to Barack Obama. Gee, why is that, Congressman?
America, wake up. Take a look at what's happening all around you. And the incentives that are given to people, as you talk about Republicans wanting these one percenters to gain. Look at what you did with things like Obamacare. Again, it goes away from capitalism, goes away from the free spirit and free enterprise, and we end up with a problem. And yes, Steve, it was true about Obamacare. One thing, that everybody would have insurance, but we all know that while they have the policy, they can't use it in many cases.
Yeah.
And some don't want to use it because it doesn't work.
Yeah. It was not affordability. It was not care. It was an act. I'll give them that. It was all an act to get us to single-payer health care. That was Obamacare failed. We all predicted it. At least a lot of us did, because it was designed to fail. That was the whole intention, to create another dependent voter, so they can say, oh, those Republicans are going to take away your health care. Vote for us. We'll take the Republicans and make them pay their fair share, whatever that means. Congressman, I'll give you the last word.
Well, that's why this battle going on with the subsidy for Obamacare to the insurance companies was only given a 3-year lifespan. It was a sunset. The Democrats put that sunset in, and now they're claiming that the Republicans are keeping this from going on. That's absolutely a farce. They were the ones who knew it was for a period of time. It probably wouldn't work, but let's throw it in. And now they want to keep something that's broken going and make it a policy issue. So we'll keep fighting, and I think we won with this shutdown in the policy area, but we lost as a country in a waste of time. And now we got to pick up the speed.
Surely do. Congressman, good to talk to you today. Enjoy by the way, opening day, a Michigan holiday tomorrow, November the 15th. Enjoy it out there. Be safe, my friends. Be safe. Congressman, thank you.
Shoot straight.
Shoot straight. Absolutely true. Congressman Tim Walberg with us. Yeah, and for those of you who don't live in Michigan, November 15th has been the opening day for firearm deer season since just after the earth cooled. My entire life. November the 15th. I don't think it ever changes. But it doesn't often end on a Saturday either. Just every so many years, it'll be like a national holiday here. All right, I'll be right back. I've got a man running for governor in Michigan, plus some of your phone calls on the Steve Gruber Show.
Still there.
I'm taking them first, right here. Free speech, free for all Friday. We love it here. Some people don't like it so much. Some people love it for everything it's worth. I don't know. Some people think that I should talk more. Some people think I should talk less. At any rate, we've got a couple of great callers on the line on the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Mike in Virginia, what's on your mind?
Hey, happy Friday, Steve.
Happy Friday,
Steve.
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, I think the youth of America are waking up to the realization that this affordability question, we keep talking about affordability. If you're talking about affordability, then there's really no prosperity being built at the time. You're not saving for your retirement if you can't afford to even get a mortgage for a house.
Correct. They can barely pay the bills. How are they going to buy a house or save money or invest in their retirement if there's ever going to be a retirement, right? That's why these Gen Z people are bleeding off from us, Mike. That's the concern I have.
Right, but they don't see there's no political solution that's going to work. You look at the national debt climbing and Trump talking about how we're going to grow our way out of the debt, and it just seems like pie in the sky voodoo economics all over again. And they didn't live through voodoo economics, but now they are.
Yeah. So is there any solution, or are we screwed?
I think there has to be some sort of recalibration. There has to be a major reset. I don't like what the World Economic Forum is telling us, you'll own nothing and be happy, but that certainly looks like where we're headed.
Certainly does. Mike, thank you for the call. Sadly, I think Mike is onto it. If we can't turn this around, especially young women, 81% of the young women voted for Mamdani in New York City. Right. All right, let's go to my next guest. Anthony Hudson is running for governor in Michigan in 2026. And he's calling for folks to turn out in Dearborn on Tuesday of next week. Let's find out why. Anthony, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Steve. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. All right. So how's this race for governor going for you?
It's busy. I'm not going to lie. It's busy. We've covered 25,000 miles across the state in the last few months, and it seems like I'm hardly ever here at home. So we're extremely busy. We're growing in numbers, and now we have a little walk to do down in Dearborn on Tuesday that's gotten the attention of folks even on the other side of the pond in the UK. So we've gotten world recognition on this, and we're hoping for a good turnout.
Yeah, Tuesday seems like an odd day to do it to me. I'll be honest with you. Tuesday, people are working.
But you know what? They've got a little mayor down there that had some choice words a few months ago for a white Christian pastor. And on Tuesday, they're having a city meeting, town hall meeting, and I'm going to attend that meeting. So this is why we're marching on Tuesday instead of a Saturday or Sunday.
All right, what kind of turnout are you expecting?
You know, I initially I thought there would be 100, 200 people. Now they're saying it could be up to 15,000 people from all over the country. So we'll see when we get there, but there's no way of calibrating who's actually going to show up and who's not.
Yeah. If you have small turnout, it's not going to bode well. And if there's big turnout, it'll be something. Look, Sharia law is not compatible with the United States Constitution. And yet you see a lot of these folks pushing the idea of Sharia law. But the Constitution that sits on my desk here guarantees us the Republican form of government. It does. It's right here. And so what are your concerns?
You know what? We are America. Dearborn lives within a state in the United States, and we're going to make sure that our Constitution lives on here. There's a lot of folks that are screaming across the state of Michigan, oh, Sharia law, they're doing this, they're doing that. And, I've been down there twice already this week. I'm going down there again today. I have not heard a single call to prayer before 7 a.m. Because if that happened, we know that would be a violation of the city ordinance. People have been friendly. They've been reaching out to me. They've been offering me shawarma and coffee and all these things. But then again, I'm not going to be blinded by the kindness either. I understand that the religion just does not like folks like me or you. And I know Texas just banned Sharia law. Whether it exists in Michigan or not, I don't care. It's going to be banned when I become governor one way or the other, so it doesn't exist at all, ever. We have to remember our values as a nation. We have to remember what our forefathers fought for. We have to remember our history. And we also have to remember that a lot of the Muslims that are here in Dearborn or in the United States left a culture that they didn't want to be a part of. You're not going to bring that here to our country and try to have any sort of takeover or institute your own religious laws here. This is the United
But
States.
I think it's
of
interesting what
America,
you
like
said there. I think it's interesting what you said there, Anthony. You said that no calls to prayer before 7 a.m., which would be a city ordinance concern. They've all been accommodating, welcoming even. So maybe some of the myths, some of the things that are propagated on social media, I should say, are myths. But you found it to be very friendly so far.
So far, and that's why we want a peaceful walk. This is not a religious protest. This is not a racial protest. This is not an ethnicity protest. It's not a protest. It is a unity walk. Communities don't survive without unity. So we have reached out to the Muslim community. We've reached out to all of us. You know, it doesn't matter your race or your ethnicity. We want you to come walk down Michigan Avenue with us, arm in arm, side by side, showing strength in numbers, which is what our president has always talked about, but do it through peace. And if we want the rest of the state to understand what's actually happening in Dearborn, then by God, you need to go to Dearborn and see for yourself what's going on.
I agree with that.
Too many videos, too much AI. We don't know what's real. We don't know what's fake. So we're going ourselves to figure this out. And, you know, you're welcome to come too, Steve. If you want to go for a walk on Tuesday, you're welcome to be there.
Anthony Hudson, greatly appreciate the invitation. Thank you for that. Running for Michigan Governor 2026. Real quickly, what's your website?
ElectAnthonyHudson.com. We are the one that's going to fix the caller's question when we get rid of the property taxes here in Michigan. So it will be a little bit more affordable to buy a home. And you don't have to wait till you're 40 to do it either. You can, you know, we fix things first. The economy will fix itself later. So
I got to leave it right there, Anthony. ElectAnthonyHudson.com if you want to learn more. Thank you for being here, sir. I got to run. It's the Steve Gruber Show on a Friday. We'll be right back.
Yep. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right, welcome back to it. A free speech, free for all Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile and the Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. Jeff has been very patient from North Carolina. Jeff, how are you today?
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. What's on your
Good
mind?
to talk to you. First, I'll say I appreciate you continuing Rush's Open Line Friday.
Thank you. You know, I kind of did it in that spirit. Rush Limbaugh had Open Line Fridays every Friday. And so, yeah, you need to hear from America, real Americans from time to time, Jeff. So what are your concerns today?
Well, I just wanted to let you know something. I haven't heard anyone mention it, but Kash Patel has a channel on YouTube called The Enforcement Files, and he gives a pretty much daily report on the FBI and all sorts of legal matters that mainstream media won't touch, of course.
Enforcement Files. I'm writing that down. Anthony's going to look it up for us, see if we can find it. The Enforcement Files on YouTube from Kash Patel. What do you see on there?
Well, it started about 3 weeks ago, and the headline may be something sensational just to get your attention, but he just dives right in. The particular one that's up right now is talking about the agreement with China to stop fentanyl production.
So that's important stuff, Jeff. Yeah, I'm going to go check that out. Thank you for letting us know that, and thank you for being patient here. We appreciate you. We appreciate all our Tar Heel fans and friends in the great state of North Carolina. Jeff, thank you on a Free Speech Free for All Friday. We'll do another hour of it coming up. Also in the next hour, Chad Stewart will be here from the Michigan DNR because it's deer season. Yeah, national holiday coming tomorrow. And national holiday to me, I'll be doing nothing but watching for the big one or the little one or the one in between. Anyhow, more Steve Gruber Show after this. something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
And welcome to it as we kick off another brand new hour here on the Steve Gruber Show on a free speech, free for all Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile. Yeah, good to have you here. We're fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom every single day. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, very strange. That's how it was termed by the judge in that lab case. Deportation for the Chinese student involved from the University of Michigan. We'll talk about that. Number two, a Middle East expert says Americans have been lulled into a false sense of security when it comes to terrorism. And number three, as I mentioned, it is free speech, free for all Friday. You can call in, share your thoughts on any topic. Affordability is what we've talked about a fair amount today. What is your biggest concern? A lot of folks that have sent me emails, which you can do at stevegruber.com, cite property taxes. Property tax, a big concern, especially for seniors because they're on a fixed income. They've paid off their mortgage. They're in retirement. Their resources are becoming more limited, and the property taxes keep going up. They say it's not right. And so the AXMI tax is a big deal. It's moving forward, by the way, axmitax.org. If you've not signed the petition, you can. They're very close. They were at 417,000 signatures last time I checked. They got to get to like 460. We want to get to 500 or 560, to be honest with you. But if it gets there, it'll be on the ballot. And would you vote against property tax? Because I would. I would vote to eliminate Michigan's property tax. You got to start somewhere. Michigan was the only state, I think, in America last year that raised income tax. Well, have your income tax. Let's lower property tax to zero. Zero. How about that? All right. By the way, these great stories from the Middle East and the lab case can be found at my news company, MichiganNewsSource.com, MichiganNewsSource.com. So go check those out. You'll be glad. Great stories there every single day. Now, we heard about this in the last hour. We had one of the callers talk about fentanyl and what we're doing about fentanyl in this country. Kash Patel dealing with the Chinese directly to end fentanyl importation into this country. In fact, he talked about it, and it's been talked about, and here's more about it. Listen.
While we, the interagency, the Department of Justice, have been fighting hard to seize and stop drug traffickers, we must attack fentanyl precursors, the ingredients necessary to make this lethal drug. That was the sole purpose of my trip to China, to eliminate these precursors. And if successful, we would suffocate the drug trafficking organization's ability to manufacture fentanyl in places like Mexico. This was the first time an FBI director has been to China in over a decade and received the audience with his counterpart to address this matter directly. And again, thanks to President Trump's direct engagement with President Xi, the government of China committed fully to my engagement there on the ground in Beijing at a level never seen before.
That'd be good news. Look, we have too many people die in this country from overdoses every year from illegal drugs that come in over the border, fentanyl being one of the worst of all. College kids dying because they won't go out on an experiment on a Friday. Don't do it. One and done, permanently. I have to applaud this administration for understanding we are in an asymmetrical war with China any given day. Any given day. You know, it makes me think about a lot of anger about Donald Trump having the president of Syria at the White House here earlier this week. And it made me think, actually, Ivy said, haven't we dealt with bad people before? Of course we have. You have to deal with bad people sometimes to find a path forward? Of course you do. So here is a couple things I thought. You know, Richard Nixon flew aboard Air Force One in 1972 to Beijing, where he met with Chairman Mao Zedong, right? The biggest mass murderer of the 20th century. We went and talked to him. And at that time in 1972, the Chinese had over 300,000 soldiers in Vietnam. The Vietnam War was raging in 1972. China actively backing the Viet Cong, actively killing American servicemen and women. And yet we went to Beijing anyway. Barack Obama went to a baseball game and drank beer and ate hot dogs and laughed it up with Fidel Castro. Remember that? And you want to have a dust up because Donald Trump's trying to find peace in the Middle East, a long-term plan with a guy who's a bad guy. Spent time in an American prison, 5 years, I think. Involved in terrorism. Got it. He's now the president of Syria, though. Syria has been a rogue nation for years. It's time to find a path forward there, I believe. I believe. Just a little history lesson for you about what happened with Nixon and Obama and a lot of other folks. We've dealt with bad people on many occasions. Many occasions. Congressman Chip Roy, meanwhile, of Texas, says, look, our problem in this country isn't just fentanyl, not just people coming here to work, but it's all immigration. And until we figure out where we are in this, how many people have come in, who's where, who's doing what, he says we should stop it all. Stop it all. All immigration, just put a freeze on it right now. Listen to him.
I've got a bill that I'm going to be introducing this week or next. We've had to wait because of the shutdown nonsense. That is a freeze on all immigration. Freeze it until we achieve certain objectives. Reforming things like chain migration and diversity and H-1B, ending H-1B, getting birthright citizenship dealt with, ending, for example, Plyler v. Doe, which says that you have to educate illegal alien children. Go down the list of things. For example, my bill that says you got to vet people for their adherence to Sharia law. Why are we importing any human being that is adherent to Sharia law, which is totally contrary to the Constitution and our values in Western civilization? So my point is, we can amend that bill and people can have ideas, but I'm going to introduce a bill as a framework to say, why don't we just freeze immigration entirely?
What's your answer? What is your answer? Put it out there for you to consider on this Friday. Incredibly important because since 1965, our immigration has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger with, it seems to me, less and less control about where the folks are coming from. The laws changed in 1965 and not for the better, in my opinion. Not for the better. All right, deer season starts tomorrow here in Michigan. Yeah, you probably knew that, even if you don't hunt. Fall is here. You know what that means? It's flannel season. Muskox, the undisputed leader in heavyweight flannels, has you covered. Their brand new heavyweight flannels are here. They're already rated the best flannel by Gear Junkie. They've been #1 since 2023, rated #1 by the folks here as well. People like me, Anthony, Ivy, we love Muskox, so does Sister Sarah. These aren't your average shirts. Muskox flannels are crafted with the softest, double-brushed 100% cotton that feels as good as it looks. Plus, every flannel sold gives back $5 to wildlife conservation. Step up your fall wardrobe with these beautiful heirloom shirts. Go muskox.com/Gruber. You'll save $15 using the Gruber promo code. GoMuskox.com, promo code Gruber. You're going to love these shirts. That is, if your wife doesn't steal it from you. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. All right, coming up after the break, Steve Doolin will be here, the best-looking professor, lawyer, and human being ever. Doolin is next. Hey, it's Friday. Thank God. And tomorrow is a statewide holiday in Michigan. Hasn't been on a Saturday in, 6-7 years, of course. It is the opening day of firearm deer season, right? Because on a Saturday, there's going to be tremendous amount of activity. Warmer than, I wish we had that cold weather right now, but we don't. It's going to be high of 62. Joining me is the most talented, good-looking, most intelligent lawyer of all time. Doolin is with us. Doolin, how are you?
Great, Gruber. How are you?
Lovely. Thank you for asking. I don't even know. Are you a deer hunter?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Having grown up in the UP, it's almost mandatory. And, they used to close school for us on the first day of deer season.
Well, they're doing it tomorrow, too. School will be closed for deer season tomorrow.
Everybody gets the day, yeah.
Statewide.
I don't mind the warmer weather because my 11-year-old daughter will be out there with me, too. And so it'll be a little quieter in the blind if it's not too cold in the blind.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Okay, so Wednesday, I get a call from a guy I didn't know. He says, hey, I shot a deer across from your property, and it ran on your property. You mind if I go look? No, don't mind. Then yesterday, a guy from the other side of the property said, hey, I shot a deer, went on your property. Mind if I go look? Geez, would you guys stop shooting all my deer? I'm kidding, of course. But the sad thing is, they didn't find either one of them. I think they were both, up in no man's land with an arrow. I don't think either deer is deceased, is my point. They've got a little memory punch, and they'll remember, what was that sound just before that felt like I didn't like it. But anyhow, in Michigan, I think we should change some laws. Doolin, I'll get you to weigh in on this as a longtime deer hunter and youper. I think it should be a $1 state. At least it should be $1 per weapon, so we can have better deer population control. I also think we should be able to hunt in places like Detroit, Grand Rapids, and if they would put in, they do this in Ohio. Archery only, of course. You can't be out there with rifles. But to control urban deer populations, you've got to allow people to hunt in these places. I'm thinking some of the best deer hunting in the country is probably inside the city limits of Detroit that's gone feral. Overgrown fields and all that. It's just got to be amazing, right?
Oh, certainly. Deer lose their fear of people pretty quickly. And I live in kind of a suburban area in East Lansing. And the last 2 springs, we had fawns birthed in the front yard. Because it's kind of a sheltered area with shrubs and whatnot, and the does felt safe. Sure, I mean, it wouldn't be fair in a way, but if you want to decrease the population, that's the way to do it.
Wouldn't be fair. Fair.
You could almost choke them in our yard some days.
Look, I've got deer in my yard. Already had them this morning. I went and looked. Yeah, they're all standing around out there. Last night there was literally a herd surrounding the house. And we live on a 10-acre piece, but they're all right here. They don't have much fear. But what do you think about a $1 state or changing the way we do some things? Because look, if you sold urban tags, it'd be a revenue generator. Make it a separate tag. Here's your special deer tag for Detroit. It costs you $20 or whatever it is. People would do it. Or if it was a lottery system, you got to put in $20 and maybe you'll draw a tag, maybe you won't. And if you get one, you can go into this area and set up a tree stand in this area that hasn't been hunted in 100 years. Imagine that.
Sure, yeah. As far as the $1 thing, I honestly don't know whether we're getting accurate information in terms of population out there, because I'll tell you what I do agree with that I hear from the official reports is the deer population is up, deer car collisions are up, and that's the only method of control for these suburban deer I look at every day is they run into the road a lot and get hit by cars a lot.
Yeah, the insurance companies would like them all gone. If there were no white-tailed deer, the insurance companies would say, thank God. The insurance companies would certainly support hunting in Detroit or Grand Rapids or Kalamazoo or wherever. Urban hunting, I think, is one of the keys. I also think that if you Ohio has a $1 limit. They have giant top-end bucks, which draws tourism dollars. So does Iowa. So does Illinois. I mean, they have giant tourism dollars because you can get these giant top-end bucks. And look, a lot of folks are looking for the big one, right? I will be tomorrow. I shoot a lot of does, but I'm going to look. I actually get to sit with Ivy for the first time in years. We actually have the chance to sit and hunt together, which is pretty cool. We used to do it a lot. We haven't done it probably in, 5 or 8 years. Been a while. But we can do better, and the DNR can be run better. How about that for a takeaway?
Well, I believe that's true. And the rules change every year, and that gets confusing. I'm sure you're like me. You can remember when it was pretty simple. You went to the store, you bought a license, you shot a deer, and that was it. And now you've got to have maps, and you have to know area numbers, and you have to have different weapons at different times and in different places on the map. And now with the mandatory reporting, I'm glad they reduced the penalty for failing to mandatorily report.
Did they?
Yeah, it was a criminal offense, and now it's a fine.
Yeah, it was like a felony if you didn't report originally.
It was there for a short time.
Yeah.
And
thankfully
we're
got
down
rid of that.
It's still a substantial fine, but that goes along with the expense has gone up. We've got competing with other distractions for the kids.
Sure.
And the dissolution of the nuclear family is also reducing hunting. The equipment is out of control expensive.
It is. There's a crossbow on the market called the Raven. It's $3,000. Apparently it's accurate to 100 yards, but good Lord. Here's my last question, Doolin. When I was first able to hunt, you had to be 14 years old. Now they've reduced the ages, of course, which I think is great. What year was the first year you went legally hunting, Doolin?
Nice
I know
try.
my answer.
I'm not going to let you back figure my birth date.
Yeah, so you saw right through that.
It was a while ago.
Yeah,
but let's just make one last point before you kick me out here, which is we have a huge problem with approximately 375,000 hunters who are not registered to vote. And so when we're talking about rule changes and what's the DNR doing and should we change the law, we've got too many hunters out there who aren't participating.
Agreed with that. Hunters don't vote. I've never understood that, Doolin. You're exactly right. 300. You've got to vote, folks. Doolin, I got to run. Thank you. All right, so I told you that I had, and I appreciate this, by the way. If you, first of all, be safe. I had a friend who fell out of a tree stand here recently. Broke 10 ribs on the way down, like a Plinko chip coming down through a pine tree, from what I understand. Broke 10 ribs. Be careful in tree stands. That is paramount. I had the good fortune to hunt professionally all over the world for 25 years, making television shows for the Outdoor Channel and other networks. Didn't make much money, but boy, we had a good time, got memories for a lifetime. But I've never seen a white-tailed deer that was worth dying for. Tree stand falls are serious. Anything above 4 or 5 feet can be really dangerous. You can break your back. You can die. So please, if you're getting into a tree stand, be exceptionally careful, please. Always know your backdrop. If you're going to pull the trigger on a gun, whether it's a shotgun, a muzzleloader, a rifle, know it is beyond your target. I've not seen a white-tailed deer that's worth shooting another human being over either, so don't hurt somebody. Make sure you're following the rules. 450 feet from an occupied house or structure, unless you've got specific permission, it's your house, or you've got permission from the person that lives there. Follow the rules. And be safe out there. It's incredibly important that we remain safe. That's my sermon for today. I want you to be safe and have fun. Like Doolin said, take the kid. He's going with his father, who's in his 80s, and his daughter. So Grandpa gets to hunt with the granddaughter. What a great tradition. We need more of that. You know, during COVID, the hunting numbers went way up. The fishing numbers went way up. And then they've kind of retreated back. We need more people involved with things like this. It's real. It's not AI generated. It's real. That's why I fish. That's why I hunt. It's real. And of course, there's the health benefit of free-range organic red meat. The liberals love it when I say that. Free-range organic red meat. No hormones, no growth enhancers, no shots in the behind, none of that stuff. Free-range organic red meat. And around here, they're corn-fed, they're fat, they're happy, and they are delicious. When I come back, Chad Stewart from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. He is the deer expert, right? And he is also the Wildlife Interactions Unit Supervisor now for CERVID. That's your word of the day, CERVID. My next guest has been with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for many, many years, been on this program many, many times over the years for a variety of reasons. Chad Stewart is the CERVID and Wildlife Interactions Unit Supervisor now for the DNR. His business card gets bigger every year. Chad, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Always good. All right, so look, tomorrow's Saturday, big day, opening day to be on a Saturday. Haven't had that happen in a number of years, of course. It comes around every so often. Let's talk about deer numbers in Michigan. It is a big deal. How many? Let's start with this: deer numbers and hunter numbers. Best guess to start the season tomorrow.
Best guess for hunter numbers, that's much easier. We'll probably wind up being in the 550, 570,000 range. And I would expect close to 450, 460,000 people to participate in the firearm season over the next 2 weeks. And that's actually been fairly steady over the past couple of years, ever since COVID. We got a bump at 2020. Everything was shut down. I think it brought a lot more people back into the fold. And those numbers, while they've come back down a little bit, they're still better than what they were in 2019 and before. So
that's good news.
That's encouraging, right?
Yeah. That's good news. Look, I was just talking with my friend Steve Doolan here a few minutes ago on the program. First year I hunted was 1979. You had to be 14 years of age to hunt back then. I know you were probably not with us then, Chad, and that's okay. But it was hard to find a deer. I got one the first day I ever went out, a little 6-point, little yearling. But I'm telling you, here in southern Michigan now, the deer are thicker than fleas, and they're bigger, and they're better than they've been in the past. You have more big high-end bucks. I told you the neighbor kid shot a 19-point here a week or two ago, just a stud deer. And I see these pictures on Facebook and everywhere all over Michigan, people killing deer that I never saw when I was young, right? I mean, what's happened?
Yeah, there's a couple things going on, right? One, hunters are being more selective. You know, I looked at data 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and 80% of our buck harvest was yearling bucks. I mean, people were very much focused on there's a buck, see it, shoot it. Now hunters are being much more selective. There's some regulations involved with that, whether it's antler point restrictions, but hunters in general are more educated today, and they've evolved to know that if they pass those deer and focus on older bucks, or pass on those younger bucks, they can focus on older bucks, and they will grow and get bigger, and that gets exciting for a lot of people. So right now our yearling buck harvest is down really close to about 50%, maybe even lower. So a tremendous change from what it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, the attitude has changed. Look, I kill probably 5 deer a year on average. Most years it's all does. Because to me, I've had the great privilege of killing a lot of big deer in my life. If I see one 2-3 years old, I'm like, cool deer. Maybe he'll be around next year, maybe he won't. But if the neighbor wants him, the neighbor can have him. And I think that's the attitude of a lot of people. They don't shoot the 2- and 3-year-olds. They're waiting for a 4 or 5, and if they're really lucky, a 6-year-old that has made that many cycles through that comes through. And I'm seeing them. And again, I didn't see deer like that when I was growing up. Not in this state.
Yeah, the other part of that is our deer numbers are increasing. So we still have a very buck-centric mentality here in Michigan. Most states that you go to in the Midwest, hunters are taking more antlerless deer than antlered deer. That's not the case in Michigan. We'd like to see that balanced out a little bit better. Do think that will continue to improve the quality of our bucks if we can keep those antlerless numbers, harvest numbers increased, and keep those balanced sex ratios a little bit better than what we've had in the past.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of a 1-buck state, but I'm not real popular at the local watering holes. When I say we should only be able to take 1 buck, and people look at me side-eyed, but it's okay. It's what I think. It's what Ohio does, and they seem to do pretty well with it. What about longer seasons for archery? I know it's been discussed. I use Ohio. They have their archery season run through the entire month of January. I figure if you're, brave enough or dumb enough to get in a tree stand when it's 10 degrees out and archery hunt, not a bad idea. You'll take a few more deer, probably not a lot. What about some of those changes that people talk about?
Yeah, and we've done that in the past with not necessarily with archery, although we have a couple counties that have extended throughout January 31st, where archery season is now allowed. But we've even done that with an extended late antlerless season that was just passed last year. It's going to be included again this year. One of the challenges with extending seasons, Steve, is that when you're at a saturation level, it tends to delay harvest ideas. So humans are really good at procrastinating on things. In some ways, I've also heard the argument that we want to maybe consider shortening seasons to get people more motivated to harvest deer. So
interesting.
There's 2 different schools of opinion on this. I've talked with the recent retired biologist out of Ohio, and he's certainly an advocate of that, certainly on the firearm side of that, shorter firearm seasons.
You look at Ohio or Illinois or Iowa, they have very short, concentrated seasons. I think Illinois has 2 seasons. One's 4 days, one's 3 days, 2 firearm seasons. Ohio's season is 6 days, if I recall correctly. We basically have a gun season that goes from November 15th for a month because what used to be the muzzleloading season is now just another gun season. Just kind of continues on, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're really faced with sort of this decision of almost choosing between opportunity and management. And a lot of people like opportunity. They like those long seasons. They like the flexibility to go out. But what happens is the more days that you add to a firearm season or even a hunting season, you get diminishing returns when it's that long. So one of the schools of thought that's being kicked around now, and certainly in my industry and professionals in other states, is what would happen if we were to shorten and condense that? Would harvests, essentially change? Would people be more motivated to take deer sooner, knowing that many people who like that flexibility and opportunity wouldn't like having a condensed
No, you'd have a lot of people screaming their heads off. Yeah, I'm sure of that. Yeah.
We worked with some stakeholders in Indiana when I was working down there, and they proposed something very similar. And yeah, it woke up a sleeping dog. A lot of people did not like that idea.
And what about urban hunting? Something else that other states do quite well, Indiana and Ohio come to mind. I mean, the best deer hunting in the state of Michigan today might be inside the city limits of Detroit. And I say that with all seriousness. You've got places that have gone, back and gone feral, and you've got vacant lots in different places, whether it's Detroit, Kalamazoo. If you had archery seasons in some of these places and you did an extra draw, charge a little extra money, I think the DNR would benefit from that. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm all for urban archery opportunities. Some communities are better built for that than others. We have a great model here in Michigan already. If you're familiar with the Meridian Township archery hunt, that's been going on for over 10 years. We've got hunters taking well over 100, some years close to 140, 150 deer. They do supplement that with some other additional management because it's still not quite enough to get to their management goals. But I think it's proof positive that you can have successful bow hunting, and it really reduces the overall cost associated with the community for some of those additional deer management activities that need to be done. So it's a net benefit. And what I really like about it is that community views it as a value added to their community. They consider their archers volunteers. They've built a walk-in cooler for archers to bring their deer into, and those deer get donated and distributed throughout the greater capital area.
Which helps a lot of people out as well. Don't forget to donate your deer to a food bank if you're not going to use it. A lot of people could use the help right now, as they do every year. Chad Stewart, greatly appreciate you being here. Hope you have a chance to get out too, Chad.
I certainly will, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Yep, there it is. Chad Stewart, been coming for years, really knows his stuff. Appreciate him being here. When I come back, somebody else who knows about taking big animals, usually bigger than me, Ivy, bigger fish, bigger deer. Yeah, I'm a little hurt. We'll be back with Ivy after this. All right, back at it now. We'll get to more hunting stories with Ivy here in a second, but we're going to start by bringing her in and saying good morning, Ivy.
Good morning.
Every week I usually set some things aside. This week I only set one thing aside. It's the dumbest thing I heard all week. And because it was so fun to listen to, the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, or Bessent. I have people say, you pronounce his name wrong. I don't know the guy. I'm not in the family. Right? It's Bessent or Bessent. I don't care. Anyhow, he's the Secretary of the Treasury. And he was in an argument with George Stephanopoulos, formerly of the Bill Clinton administration. George Stephanopoulos was a guy that was instrumental in Whitewater and Monica and all of that, the Lewinsky deal. And he tried to take on Scott Bessent. Well, it didn't go that well for George. Listen.
George, the best way to do it, and look, you were involved in a lot of these in the 90s, and you basically called the Republicans terrorists, and you said that it is not the responsible party that keeps the government closed. And so what we need is 5 brave, moderate Democratic senators to cross the aisle, because right now it is 52 to 3. 5 Democrats can cross the aisle and reopen the government. That's the best way to do it, George.
I can disagree with you about the history there, but we don't need a history lesson right now.
George,
let's talk about what's happening right now.
If you want, I've got all your quotes here. George.
I'm sure you do. But let's talk about the situation right now.
Read your book. So you got one purchase on Amazon this week, and that's very much what you said.
At least one purchase on Amazon this week.
George, I bought your book, George. I've got your quotes right. George's like, well, we can argue about the history.
No, do you notice how he just talks over him and keeps him from speaking because he knows that what he's talking about is actually fact.
Actually spot on.
Oh my gosh, he actually did some homework and read all about you.
He read your book, George. He read the book. I love that. Dumbest thing you've heard all week. George, I didn't say that. We'll argue about that. Right here, George, page 25. Page 36. Come on.
Let me go right to it and reference it.
Yeah.
He's I really like him in that regard.
He's so
on
smart.
Point.
Yeah.
He's really smart. He's quick on his feet, and he doesn't take any BS.
No, he doesn't, and he's very good at on his feet. And so are a lot of the people in the administration. Marco Rubio comes to mind. Scott Bessent comes to mind. These folks know what's coming at them every day when they go out there. Go
absolutely.
ahead.
And do you notice now how this, after the government shut down, is over now, but it looks like the Democrats have lost this argument, and the whole narrative has now changed.
Yeah, it's Epstein again.
It's now Epstein. It's Trump is,
a pedophile.
A pedophile and a child rapist, and this is worse than Clinton, and etc. It's, I just, if they had this information during the Biden years, they would have released this so that he couldn't even have a possibility to get to be president of the United States.
Exactly. Oh, and by the way,
and they voted to not release the files.
That's right.
What, yesterday?
2 days ago.
2 days
this
ago.
week though, and they had these files during the entire Biden administration. If you wanted to look at the files, you wanted to release the files, why didn't you for 4 years? Well, they were sealed. I see this online. They were sealed because of the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell. No, that's false. Mm-hmm. I went and fact-checked them. They were not sealed because of her trial. A couple of things were sealed, but very little. I mean, these people, here's the problem, Ivy, as we talk about all the time, is that people see a little snippet or a headline on social media. Oh, there it is. I saw it.
Well, they take it as fact, and they don't do any research whatsoever after that. It's like, they said it on the news, or that this headline said this or that. And actually, I want to play a bite for you, Anthony. Go ahead and play that.
That mentioned the president, and we do want to be clear, the president, Trump, did not receive or send any of the messages, which largely predated his time as president. He's not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in connection with Epstein or Maxwell. The White House.
So right there, that's a CNN reporter. Okay,
why cover it?
And that's what exactly, because they're so afraid of being sued that they're like, we want you to know that Trump didn't receive or send any messages.
Right.
He has not been accused of any wrongdoing.
And I want to touch on something here because the BBC is being sued by Donald Trump now for $1 billion for a documentary. You probably heard about this because they took and spliced together portions of his speech from January 6th.
That made it seem like he was calling for violence.
Which he was not when he said be peaceful. And here's the thing about the UK. It is the responsibility of the defendant to prove they didn't do something with malice. Donald Trump is in a great position. Plus, the hammer in the UK is the financial penalty that drops on organizations like the BBC, which, by the way, British taxpayers are required to pay taxes for the BBC. And if you don't, you get a penalty. This is why government media is such a bad idea.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And
but they're obsessed.
Right. But there is no. So in the UK, it's not like you're innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until you're proven innocent.
Correct. When it comes to malicious media postings, that's why they pound on people's doors at 3 a.m. and arrest them for a Facebook post. Mm-hmm. Just insane sorts of stuff. Just absolutely insane. But in this particular case, they don't have the First Amendment. So in this particular case, this is why Donald Trump can potentially stomp them with their own laws for being dishonest.
Didn't they just come out and apologize? They came out and apologized, but they have to issue a retraction and say, hey, we did this on purpose to make him look bad, and so then he'll drop the lawsuit or something like that.
Right.
But
they're refusing to pay, but they're going to pay. Because the lawsuit's in Florida because the BBC plays in Florida, so they have standing in the state of Florida where the lawsuit is. BBC's going to lose this one. I'm just telling you.
It just makes
dishonest
me
media.
So outraged because it is just another attack. It's just like, okay, let's take the last presidency. We're going to get you out of office. You had Russia, Russia, Russia. This is just another one of those things that, it's not impeachment and it's not Russia, Russia, Russia this time. Now it's Epstein. It's just, come on, guys. Can we just get together and do what's best for the American people? Stop with your ridiculousness.
Ridiculousness. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah. Ivy, I'll leave it there for today. Love you.
Okay. Love you.
Fired up we are. Ivy and I are going to hunt together for the first time in years tomorrow.
I'll be there too, right in the middle of.
He'll be right out there in the field. Ding, 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 toosh. Ding, 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 toosh. Anyhow, I'll take a break and be right back. Final thoughts. I don't know. I'll just call it for what it is. It's a bloodbath on the markets. It is. It has been tough on, let's see, the stock market went down, the Dow down 800 points yesterday, just shy. NASDAQ down over 500. The S&P down more than 100. But look, think about this. Down 800 and it's still over 47,400. Remarkable place for the market to be. People taking profits.
I got a quick question. Because when the government was shut down, we didn't really get any of the reports, right?
That's correct, like economic reports. That's
so
correct.
When are we expecting, should we expect to get those?
They said that for like employment numbers, they'd have half a report. I saw that yesterday somewhere in passing. They'd have half a report. So are we going to get some of it? Some of it? All of it? That I don't know, Anthony.
Because some people are saying that could be a reason also that the stock market is a little bearish at the moment.
Yeah, and again, look, when Trump came into office, the market was at 44,000. We're still 3,500 points higher than we were in January. I mean, we've been setting all-time records day after day. Gold is taking it on the chin right now, too. You knew that. You told me that. Gold, now dove even farther. It might go below $4,000 today. Maybe.
I'm staying off the stock market today.
Yeah, don't look. It's Friday, Just have a beer. Don't go to the whiskey, Anthony. Don't get close to a window or anything sharp, all right?
Right after the show, we'll go get some beers.
Yeah, a little early for me. Anyhow, I'm going to a big football game tonight. That's what I'm doing tonight. High school football playoffs. Very exciting. Very exciting. To see teams want to get to Ford Field, don't they? They just want to get to Ford Field. I can't blame them. That was not what was in the mix when we were in high school. Anyhow, good stuff. If you are going hunting, whether it's in Michigan or anywhere else, be careful. Be very careful about tree stands. Do not fall because gravity always wins. Fight the good fight and keep the faith. God bless America, my friends. I'm Steve Gruber. This is the Steve Gruber Show. Work harder. Be better. Have a great weekend.